Thank you for tuning in to another episode of
Sticky Notes Podcast.
Thank you, T. Today we are joined with a very, very, very special guest, Miss Elizabeth Troylynn. Hello.
Hello there. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about a lot of stuff that you have going on. First, you have a book, right?
Yes.
What's the name of your book?
It's called His Mosaic Masterpiece.
His Mosaic Masterpiece. Can you give me like a couple little tidbits about that book?
So the book is a story about my life and the trials and tribulations that I had to go through, meant to help others and inspire others.
My book is about a little girl that was born in the 1960s into what seemed like a normal family life, a mom, a dad, two brothers. And in a flash of a moment, her life changed drastically through the choices of her parents.
Elizabeth has faced challenges greater than any I can imagine. Challenges that could have made her be a bitter, unforgiving person. Instead, Elizabeth has relied upon her faith and her trust in God to look at life with a positive attitude.
She's always loving and kind.
She's a good influence.
It's so inspirational. I think anyone who's been through like the foster care system, who's been in abusive relationships, abusive marriages, who's experienced any type of trauma or pain in their life can read her book, and by the end of it, hopefully realize that there's more to live for, and the grass is always greener on the other side.
I can't wait to see all of the beautiful things that come out of her sharing her story with others.
And in order to do that, you have to share your life experiences without candy coating it, so that that going through the similar situations can really relate to you.
Okay, so it's almost like a little bit of a biography kind of.
Correct.
But meant to help other kids and people that have been in similar situations get over.
Yes, so I was given up by my mother and forced into foster care at a very young age, which then resulted in being in the foster care system for about 5 years. And it's very hard. I think the number one person to forgive is when your parent gives you up or abandons you for whatever reason. You think that it's your fault and you live with the guilt, the shame of why did they do that? Was I not good enough to love? And so many kids then, today, in the future, are going to face that, and they're going to have their own fear. And my job through my story is to help them realize that they have purpose, they have value, they have a life.
And there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. And what I learned out, it took many, many years, is that I was not supposed to be on my mother and father's pathway. I was not to be on that pathway because I would not be the person I am today. So I had to be taken off of that pathway. And I truly believe God removed me from that.
So how many years in foster care did you spend?
I was there 5 years in the foster care system.
All with one family or more than one family?
I was with one family.
Okay, the whole 5 years?
Yes.
Would you say that family treated you as if you were their own?
In the beginning, it was full of many emotions, fear. Who were they? Could I trust them? How long would I be staying in this home? And as time grew by, they made me realize that there is a dynamic family, that it does exist out there. So over time, they did make me feel a part of that family, but a part of you will never feel a part of that family because you have your own family, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you know that that's not your family.
Correct.
So would you say that it was like it's a good thing for a kid to enter into foster care if they're in a bad situation?
I think if a kid is in a bad situation, as I was, I had to be taken away from my birth mother because she would have emotionally, physically hurt me and damaged me for probably the rest of my life. So yes, if a child is not in a good situation and foster care is an option and it's with a good family that will love and respect them, then yes.
At what point in time in your life were you like, okay, my struggles are over? Like what happened in your life? Was there like a significant moment in your life where you were like, okay, the battle's over, like, you know, now I'm happy? You know, was it when you had your kids, or like, because I know that there were still some difficulties after your first daughter.
Yes.
So what point in time in your life were you like, okay, now I'm happy, now I'm settled? When was it?
It was actually when I first had my first child. And the reason I say my first child is because the road that I was traveling down was a very scary road. And when I knew that I was pregnant with her, I said to myself, I'm going to break the cycle of what my birth mother did. And I'm going to make sure that this child has a good life and not have to go and endure what I had to endure. That was the time. And then when I had my second child, I knew that I had won the battle. The decisions that my parents made, I was the one that broke the cycle.
Tell us a little bit about the process of writing your book.
So I knew when I was in foster care at a very early age that I had to help kids. I knew that I just had a feeling inside of me, call it purpose, call it, you know, divine purpose. And so people in my life kept telling me, you have to get your story out there. You've got to get your story out there. So about 10 years ago, I just got a journal and I started writing pieces of what was in my brain and memories, and just started putting it together. And it took me about 6 years.
You created like a timeline.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay. Well, I think it's pretty awesome what you're doing and trying to take your experiences to help other people that are in, you know, similar situations, and see that there's can be a good outcome to all this.
Where can people buy your book?
They can buy it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And I also have the book in the Spanish edition. And I'm also have it on the audio version.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the book called again?
His Mosaic Masterpiece.
His Mosaic Masterpiece.
God Turns the Broken into Beauty.
That's a nice title.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you stopping by, and it's Thanksgiving, so we're very thankful to have you on our podcast.
Thank you. You guys made this an extra special Thanksgiving.
Cool. And you did too.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, and everybody go out there and look up His Mosaic Masterpiece. Yeah. Anywhere you can find a book, that's where it's going to be. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of
Sticky Notes Podcast.